Hello everyone out there and welcome to the movie where we are going to talk about the default values or saving them as permanent values in the phone. As well as also I'll talk a little about the icons. Also, there is nothing much drastically and big comprehensive to talk about the icons. There is a very small detail that you should be following and I'll note you down that all of that. First let's talk about saving the data as a default or the permanent storage. So although we are not yet in a situation to understand what's happening out there, and let me clear that up, that I'm just showing you how to save the data permanently. I'm not showing you how to implement this functionality. In order to implement this functionality, we need to create an app. And before that, there is a tons of things that are going at the back end. We haven't talked about any single of them. Let's just focus, and believe me, the course is being designed in a perfect way so that you learn that, you don't get bored, you create stuff as well as you get every basic detail, not just creating apps randomly out there. So how to save the data default in an iOS? Let's say we have got an array and this is hard coded out there, although there are very rare chances that you're going to hard code any array or any dictionary or anything like that. You would like to have a data from the user. Let's just say the user has given us this data. Assuming for a moment, don't worry, I have an app for asking the default bikes or the favorite bikes, and then we will have set that. So just the functionality, look at that. So it says NS user defaults. Now this is the main guy who is responsible of doing so. And yes, NS is going to be everywhere. NS arrays, NS defaults, NS strings, because it goes back to the historic days of the Next Step company being set by the Steve Jobs. I'll not take you to the glorified historic lesson of the Steve Jobs, but that was essential and necessary information. And we can access a multiple function, but I believe that most of the time you will be accessing this function, the standard user default function. But let's say you have got multiple accounts, then we have got to work around with a different ways or different functions. Let's not go into that much of deep. So we have to call NS user default and standard user default. Now this only line, that set object, is responsible for saving the data permanently. Once this line is being run, wherever you're going to run that means the data is being set as a default. Now it doesn't matter you take it from a viewDidLoad method or maybe any other method. So what it says set object. Now there are two objects for that. If you want to set anything as a permanent or you want to reload the permanent values, you need to just run this line, set objects. Now it takes two things. The first is what is the object. In this case, it's a bike. And for key, how you want to access that. Again, accessing is important. If you are not accessing that data and save that permanently, it's a garbage. So for key, and you can give it any key. I have given it a bike. I can give it A, I can give it B, I can give it keys, anything that I want. And later on, if you want to access that data, again, these two guys are always going to be there if you want to access that. Now all I have to say, objects for keys. Now it's like a dictionary. I just need to access it. So I can say it is being saved with the name of the key as bike. But there is a twist. What is the twist? Now it doesn't understand, or it just returns the data as any object. You cannot actually say that what kind of object is being returned. It might be string, it might be integer, it might be array, it might be dictionary. We need to be specific for that. And how to do the specification is simply with the as and the NS array. But again, it will return you the optional values, and I don't want optional to appear on my screen. So I'll force unwrap that. I'll say, yes, I am pretty sure that the return type is going to be of an array. So don't worry about anything and just convert it to the NS array type. That's it. That's what you need to do. And after that, it's up to me. In this case, I've been very lame and tried to have just a for loop for that. Again, depends on me what I want to do. But once you have run the application with that, and notice we are in the viewDidLoad method, not in just the class. Once the load is being appeared, this is going to be the permanent data. And I can prove you a little bit, not very intentional proof. Once this is being run, although the comment this line, I'll comment this one and run the app still, and notice it was never used in similar error, but still we got our objects and all of that. And this is a very lame proof, but don't worry, I'll cover that up later up in the section where we will eventually derive a series, or maybe eventually we will have a section dedicated for building up our app. Okay, good so far. But what about this view did load, and there will be dozens of other like did receive more warning, view did load, view will appear, view have appeared. What is this going on? Again, we need to set our hands a little bit slow. We are creating just insanely so many apps, but we shouldn't be. We should look at a little bit about how the working is going on, how the architecture works on, what things load up first, what thing loads up second, how I can change the loading styles and all of that. So you can see we have got again a lot of cushion. So in the next section, I won't be driving you through insanely creating a dozens of apps. Instead, I would be focusing much more on the architecture. What are the things that loads up? What are these configuration files? What are these functions view did load? And are there any other functions just like view did load, view will appear, view have appeared, and all of such things? But before that, I would again like to go back onto a very essential functionality, running this app. And you will notice that in a moment, if I press Command Shift and H, that's for home button, these icons doesn't look good. Even actually, this might have caused a pain in the eye that this is not at all I want. This is what I want, like the game center. So let's try to have a look on how we can set the icons. But before that, I would say that go for the HIG, the Human Interface Guideline of the Apple, which is the most possible way to have the icons, because a lot of change, and this might be one of the reasons that your app might get rejected. So make sure that you be clear and follow all those guidelines. Let me show you how the things works out. Before that, here is important tip. You can see there are the rounded corners in the app. Now you do not provide the rounded corner icons to the Apple. It does automatically as an OS job. You provide the square icon image, always and always square. But what are the sizes for that? So in order to understand the sizes, click on the assets.exits, and what does it say is the same icon out there. And you can see there are dozens of 2x, 3x, 2x, 3x and all of that. There is the size, the 29 pt, the point, and the 40 point, 60 point. What is this 2x and 3x? Now it simply says if it is a 40 point, 2x means it is going to be multiplied by 2, that is 2 into 40 is 80, and likewise for the 3x and all of that. But what are the devices I'm going to submit? Now this is for the spotlight, the search that you when drag it a little bit downwards, and that's a spotlight search. These are the small icons for iPhone, and these are the big one for 7 to 9. These are for 5 to 6, and you can also have a little bit more. Bringing this guy and select an inspector, you can bring something like 6. Notice we got more icons. You can have the iPads also, and just depends on you how many icons you want to provide. If you want to submit it on the iStore, you need to provide all of them. There is no choice. But let me bring this guy out here. There is again, I have created the icon for our jobs icon. Again, this is definitely going to be rejected because it contains an image which is not at all clear. You should have a look on the HIG because this is definitely going to be rejected. But what I can see that there is an option for providing like small and all of that. So this is the small icon. I can drag and drop and it will automatically fit out here. But I can do one more thing. I can actually go for the big guys like this 40 into 3x, and press my command key 40 into 2x and the 40 icon. I can drag and drop these guys directly out here and they will automatically be selected because it knows by my name out here how these things appear. If I bring this guy back, notice that I have named them specifically like icon-40, icon-40 at the rate 2x, icon-40 at the rate 3x. Now this is not at all compulsion nowadays, but in previous days it was compulsion that you submit your icons in this naming format also. So it's a good idea to always name them like, and after that you can just select them, drag and drop, and it will automatically detect that what you are submitting for. And if again I run the icon, and if I run this, it's taking a moment to run that. Again, notice we got a warning for that, and this is for that. I'll just bring the guy back out here, and again the save data app is not being loaded in a moment. Just let me stop that, and what we are seeing is app icon. So let me just put that icon, bringing the guy back, and here is our icons, and let's try to have that. So icon small 2x, 2x is already there. Let's just try it. Bringing that back. And let's have a 2x for that. So I'll have a 2x for the 40. So where is my 40 guy? Here it is. It's a 40. It's a 2x. Oops, it's a 2x. And it's a 3x. And again, there is a 60p also. So 60 into 2x is there. And 3x is there. Okay, good so far. Nothing much to be heard. And again, let me just check the view controller. Okay, good so far. Let me just run that app so that we can see if we have got some icons or not. Hit the Command Shift and H, and there is our Steve Jobs looking at me quite brilliantly. So this is how you put the app. Again, this is not a guide on how to have images. This is guide for how to put the images. What kind of images is allowed or not. Again, the best resource is the HIG, Human Interface Guideline is the best way to look at. But now you have enough knowledge to create a simple app. Let me show you what are your responsibilities in that app. You need to have a simple interface that takes an input for the favorite bike of the user, and the user might want to put that bike in a table view where he can save them. Once the user have purchased that bike, he can simply swipe and delete that, nothing else. No more functionality for tweet or anything like that. He just want a personal collection for the bike. So make sure that he puts a bike name out there, submit it, that appears on a table view onto a screen, separate screen, and then after that. Now again, I understand you will not be able to do that because we haven't talked about the segues and all of that. But I would simply suggest to give it a go and give it a try. You will explore a lot of things. Now coming back on to the essential part. What are these loads? What are these segues? So let's move on to the next section and just talk about the basics and the architecture.